I'm your host, Sean Smith. Hey, welcome back. It's been a little while. We're on a pretty good schedule here, once a month, trying to get them out in the beginning of the month. We'll see if that trend holds up for December or for January as well. I can't believe it's already December. If you haven't already, please do me a favor and subscribe to the High Note Podcast on whatever service, whatever podcast listening app that you're using. Just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and then that way, when new podcasts come out, they'll come right into your feed. You can also check me out at highnotblog.com. I release a blog or publish a blog twice a week. Tuesdays are new music blogs. Basically just a review of an album that came out the previous Friday, which every Friday I come out with New Music Friday. So it's just a list of every album that was released every Friday. So you can just go ahead and check that out at highnotblog.com. And if you're on the social medias, which I'm sure you are, you can give me a follow there as well. I'm High Note Blog, at High Note Blog, anywhere that you do your social media. So today's guest is really cool, is a new friend, Perry Thompson. Perry is the president of the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society, which is actually based right here in Atlantic City, which is really cool. Perry has already... Since it was founded in 2018, he has already racked up a long list of accomplishments and has been honored up and down the state and is continuing his mission to try to promote Black music through education. And specifically down here in South Jersey, he did a couple of really cool lectures with Dr. Nina Simone and also Reggie Reg from the Cash Crew. So really cool. He's looking to open up a center right here in Atlantic City, which would be amazing. A great hot spot and a hub for music in the area. And he also does online lectures too. So if you give him a follow, he is online basically everywhere. And I'll link this up in the show notes as well as RBPSOC. That's RBPSOC. So you can check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. He's all over the place. And his online lectures, seminars have covered people like Jimi Hendrix, Prince, and Snoop Dogg, of course, Snoop Dogg. So really, really cool, really great guy. I really enjoyed this interview. I thought it was great, and Perry is awesome. So I wish the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society all of the best of luck in the future, and Perry, and maybe he'll be on in the future when he opens up the center or comes out with his book. So this is my new friend, the president of the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society, Perry Thompson. Perry Thompson, welcome to the High Note Podcast. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, and Perry, you are you're the president, is that right, of the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society?
Yes, I am. I am.
Tell me about I just heard about this. I think about a month ago, I saw a little news article about it. I saw it's based right here in Atlantic City.
Yes.
So how did the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society find its home here?
Well, I've been in Atlantic City for about 8 years, but I've had the idea of opening having a nonprofit organization for about 15 years, and I established it in 2018. And the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society is a nonprofit organization that preserves the culture of Black music. I've always been into music. I'm a graduate of LaGuardia High School of Music and Performing Arts, and I wanted to create an organization that honors those in Black music, R&B, soul, rap, hip hop, jazz. And I feel that's important because Black music culture touches the whole world. So that's what my organization is about. We honor those in Black music culture. It's not about how many awards you won. how many records you sold. If you contribute to Black music culture, whether you're an artist, producer, writer, um, we are going to honor you, and that's what we do.
That's fantastic. That's really great. Now, what kind? It says that in the article here that you wanted to have a home here in Atlantic City, a center. What's your vision for that center?
Yes, you want to have a preservation center that focus that honors those in Black music, as well also to have preservation center would be for the kids to learn about Black music culture, have workshops and classes. I've done lectures at Stockton University, um, and I'm getting ready to do another lecture. We are now I am now a vendor at the Department of Education in New York City. So that means that I can do programs for any school in New York. And I'm working on becoming a vendor in the Department of Education in New Jersey as well.
Oh, that's fantastic! Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now, when we're talking about your music influences, when you said you're a lover of music, what kind of music did you listen to growing up?
Growing up R&B, soul, jazz, Latin music, funk rock, that's what I grew up listening to. Hip hop as well. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too. I'm a big I kind of grew up on the rock and roll side and then kind of found things through that because really all music kind of goes back into blues music. Really all
Yes.
American music. All American music
Yes.
can really be rooted back to blues music. So I think
Absolutely.
a rhythm and blues society having its roots in Atlantic City is pretty amazing.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, you had mentioned education being a big proponent or a big portion of this. What kind of education things? What have you done in the past? You had mentioned you'd lectured at
Yes, I did a
Stockton.
lecture at Stockton University last November because November is Hip Hop History Month. So last year in November at Stockton University, I did a lecture on history of hip hop, and they had the legendary hip hop legend Reggie Reg at the Crash Crew,
Oh
and he
wow!
came. Yes, and he came and spoke to the kids, and they really want to do. They really enjoyed the conversation. And in February this year, I did a 2 hour lecture on the legend of Dr. Nina Simone. It was a 2 hour lecture at Stockton University. Her grandson was even there, he even
Wow!
attended. So it was a great moment there. Politicians, the Assemblyman Don Guardian was there. The Commissioner Shabazz of Atlantic City was there. The Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society, we have been recognized from Governor Phil Murphy. I have a letter from Governor Phil Murphy. I have a proclamation from Don Guardian, Assemblyman Don Guardian, and also the Commissioner of Atlantic City gave me a resolution in Atlantic City.
Oh, congratulations! That's great. That's a great list of accomplishments there too, and a lot of heavy hitters in the city
Yes,
and in the state to have at your back. That's great.
yes,
Now, we can't get into, of course, like all of hip hop history. Now, I went to college at Canisius College in Buffalo. I'm from the Atlantic City area originally. Grew up right here on the island, and went to Holy Spirit High School. And in my later years, I kind of got an appreciation, and I took a jazz appreciation course. But
right.
man, it was the most boring class. I loved it. It was great. I learned so much about jazz, and still listen to WRTI literally every night. Shout out to Temple Jazz Station, probably the one of the best jazz stations in the country.
Mm,
But it was so boring because it was a 3 hour once a week class, and the guy would lecture for an hour. We would take a break, and then he would put on literally the Ken Burns jazz documentary in a dark room, 7 o'clock at night. I may or may not have been high, and I may or may not have slept through like half of that documentary. So how do
right.
you? So when you're bringing this education portion into the classroom, how do you make it interactive besides just putting on a song for kids?
Well, when we did the hip hop lecture at Stockton University, Reggie Reg from the Crash Crew, he spoke about the history of hip hop, and the kids really gravitated because they didn't really know about the culture. They didn't really know about Reggie Reg, the legendary art. They didn't really know about the culture. So They were really asking him questions about hip hop because he knows everyone in old school in hip hop, Reggie Reg, and they were asking him questions about hip hop and hip hop history. So the kids were really gravitate towards that. And it's very important that we teach our kids about the culture because a lot of our kids are in want to be in the music industry, but they need to learn about the culture who contributed um, the culture of black music. I've interviewed some legendary artists. I've interviewed Claudette Robinson from the Miracles from Motown. I've also interviewed Miss Melissa Morgan, who's a legendary artist, and also I've interviewed Reggie Calloway from Midnight Star. And these artists, when they tell their stories, it's really enlightening. They tell their stories how they grew up as far as what they dealt with as far as in the industry. And I was very impressed. And I really want to educate the kids on not just the music, but behind the scenes, like um, who there were so many black journalists who contribute to black music. That's what I want to do with the Preservation Center. We want to have workshops about black music culture. Also, I want to bring in legendary artists to talk to the kids, and also have a business course because a lot of the kids who are in the music industry, they really don't know about the business aspect of music. And I want to also have a business course to teach the kids about publishing, contracts, understand the culture, but also understand the business aspect as well. And also, I would like to establish music scholarships to give the kids because that's very important. That's something my alley as far as music. They've taken out the arts and music in schools, and I want to bring that back to help the kids to educate. It's all about education. I'm a black music preservationist. I study black music. I've written articles on black music culture. I'm gonna be working on a book pretty soon on black music culture. Pretty soon I'm gonna be having my own podcast and my own radio network as well.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, first off, congratulations on that. You have a pretty great list of people who you've interviewed already. So congratulations. Feel free to let any of them know that you're friends with me. Drop a drop your name, drop the name over here.
Right.
Friends with Sean Smith. And then also, it really seems like you have a comprehensive vision for this from the whole education aspect, really teaching people not just in the classroom, providing scholarships, all aspects of the music business. I as a
Yes.
music journalist, music. I think like the movie Almost Famous was probably like the only for me that was my first introduction to music journalism. I didn't know it was a job. My introduction as a thing was I've told this story on the podcast before, but I was an intern at Canisius College in Buffalo. There was a music publication, well, an arts publication called Art Voice, and my job was to preview bands coming to town, and they would hand me a
Okay.
stack of CDs and press releases, and
Right.
they would say pick 3 or 4, write a paragraph on your favorites, and we'll put it in the newspaper. And it was called "See You There," I think it was called. And
Okay.
after my internship, they said, "Hey, you've done a great job here, and we're thinking about offering you a position." And I said, "Oh, great! What would the position be?" And they said, "Well, actually, you just took over for somebody who left, and so you would be doing essentially exactly what you're doing, and probably a little bit more." And
Wow.
I said, "Wait a second, this is a job?" You actually pay somebody to do this? I've been doing this for free, and I'd be happy to do this for free. I didn't know this was real. So at that point, I dropped out of law school. I didn't stay in Buffalo. I came home and became a journalist at the Current newspaper, a local newspaper here, and did start a music blog there. But I didn't know that this was a career path that people could
Right.
make a thing. So if you can teach young kids especially all aspects of the music business, because you don't necessarily have to be a performer. You can be a sound engineer, you can be a manager. There's a
Absolutely.
you could do like the costumes. You could be a costume designer, you could be a set designer.
Absolutely.
I actually have been talking to people who do the the graphics and like the light shows and things like that, like a visual effects type people. I mean, there's so many
Right.
ways if you love music, you can incorporate it and make it into a career. And it sounds like that's like, what you're trying to do with this.
Yes, our ultimate goal, what we want to do is we want to create a curriculum of Black music or African American music, and to have a curriculum in the schools. That's my goal. So I've been talking to educators here in New Jersey and in New York, and we going to my vice president and I. We want to create a curriculum and of African American music, and because Black music culture dates back all the way to even starts from Africa. So then it's when Black people were brought over here, and in America, it starts from in 1600s. You had the Dixie bands, you had the swing era. So 1600 from 1600s all the way up to now, you have swing, you have jazz, you have rock and roll, you have blues, you have soul, you have R&B, you have hip hop, you have dance music. So I mean, Black music culture has affected everybody. So many artists in rock music and in country music have been influenced by Black artists. So it's a global thing, Black music culture, and that is what we're all about. Honoring those of Black music culture and educate the kid as well, educate everyone about Black music culture. And I'm very happy that when I'm done, I'm having fun doing this. You know what I mean? And we're just going to keep continue what we're doing, and so to have more chapters. I want to open up a chapter in New York. I want to open up a chapter in Los Angeles, and also a chapter in the UK as well.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it should be. It absolutely should be a global thing, especially if you can incorporate education into it. Because
Yes.
that is essentially what's going to keep. The kids are what's going to keep this whole thing alive. They're going to keep it going a lot longer than we're going to be around, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I saw in the article that I read that you had some virtual lectures. Tell me about those.
Yes, we had a virtual lecture. Our first one, it was on the legendary Jimi Hendrix, about his band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and we spoke about the history of his band. And we had our other lecture was on the album done by Prince, the Love Symbol album. That was a very important album that Prince put out. This is when he became independent and started using the symbol when he changed his name. So we had a gentleman by the name of Keith Murphy, who was a music journalist, and he had a very in-depth um, journal article on the Love Symbol album, and that was a great lecture as well. And we also did a virtual lecture on the legacy of Snoop Dogg. So we spoke about his career and what he's done. It's called This Day in Music, and we're going to continue to do that. We're working on another one, This Day in Music, next in January. I don't want to say what it is yet, but it's going to be This Day in Music. So that's what we do. We do this day in different events that occurred in Black music culture. So our next one should be coming up in January, virtual. And once I get that done, I'll let you know about it, sir.
Yeah, please do. I absolutely. Yeah, that Prince Love Symbol album is really interesting because that's one that my opinion changed on that a lot as I, got older and like really understood what Prince was actually trying to do, when he
Yes.
made that whole thing.
That was a
So,
very important album. Yes, it was, because that was when Warner Brothers wouldn't give him his music, and he decided to become independent and change his name from Prince to the Love Symbol, and it really um changed the industry as far as how and that's very important as far as particularly with black, because a lot of black artists from the early 1900s, they didn't know about the business. They didn't know, that's why I stress about the business. A lot of legendary black artists in blues and jazz, they didn't know the music business. So their family, they don't even have the family don't even own their music anymore, and that's really a shame. Anita Baker was just she's just went back her catalog, so she owns her whole music catalog now. The hip hop legendary group De La Soul, they just now own their catalog. They've been fighting that for over 30 years. Same with Anita
wow.
Baker. They've been fighting for over 30 years to get their music catalog, and Anita has hers. and De La Soul has theirs. So I'm hoping this will be a trend for black artists who recorded 30 years ago to own their music catalog, because it's very important to own your music. Because Prince always said, if you don't own your master, you're still a slave. He said that. He stressed that all the time about owning your music. Same thing with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson owned his own. He owned 50% of Sony Music Publishing,
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes
and
back.
he owned the Beatles catalog.
He was very smart with that one.
Very smart. So it's very. And Ray Charles owned his music catalog. Same thing with Sam Cooke owned his music catalog. James Brown owned his publishing his catalog. So it's very important for black art for the kids, if you're going to be in black music culture, to learn about publishing, learn about contracts, and learn about owning your music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, even Miles Davis had to release a few albums quickly to get out of a contract. He released like three in a row, bam, 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 just to get out of one and get into another one.
Right,
Now,
right.
now you talked about Prince, which is that was absolutely incredible. That Love Symbol album, the Jimi Hendrix. So tell
The
me
Jimi
about.
Hendrix Experience. Yes, we talked about his band and how they first became known in the UK, and now the successful tour. And in October, his Jimi Hendrix Experience band was like, the pinnacle of his career. Great music that Jimi Hendrix Experience recorded. And he really made an impact over, because he wasn't that big over here yet, but when he went overseas with the Jimi Hendrix Experience, it really was a great impact in music. Took his career to a whole another level. So we spoke about the legacy of his band and his music. Great legend Jimi Hendrix was. Yeah, his 80th birthday was just last month, so I acknowledged him on my social media page. So Jimi Hendrix was a legend. I mean, one of the greatest who ever did it. He's left-handed. And what blew me away that he was a left-handed guitarist, and I'm left-handed. So that was really amazing when I saw him play when I was young, on films of him playing. So we acknowledged him, a great legend, going away too soon. So we want to give him his roses.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and definitely gone too soon. And amazing the way he played that guitar. I mean, upside down, the way he had to tape his amp cord,
Yes,
to because it was going, going the wrong way. I mean,
yes.
just
He had his
absolutely
he was
incredible.
his own. He had his own style. Jimmy had his own style.
Absolutely. And then I also saw that you did something for Snoop Dogg's 50th birthday.
Yes, for his birthday. Yes, he wanted to honor Snoop on his birthday, for his accomplishments. Who's a hip hop legend, but also a very smart businessman. He's done a lot in music, as far as he being the head of Def Jam Records, um, and his philanthropy as well. He does a lot for the kids with his Snooper Bowl, and he does a lot for his community as well. So he just wanted to acknowledge him on his birthday, last in October, as far as his accomplishments in music and his philanthropy and his business success as well. So that's what we do. We about honoring those who contribute to Black music culture and the Rhythm Blues Preservation Society. We appreciate everyone who support us and acknowledges what we do, such as yourself. And I appreciate it. I appreciate this opportunity with you, sir.
Oh, I appreciate this. I mean, I think this is amazing, not just, because I love music and I love Atlantic City, but I think it'll be a great addition for people who are coming to Atlantic City. I think, Atlantic City has a rich music culture as
Oh
well.
yes, yeah. The Club Harlem was a great outlet for Black artists. So many artists were performed there, in R&B, jazz. So that was in fact, I wanted actually do something to honor Club Harlem, because that was a great. It was like the Apollo of Atlantic City. So definitely, Club Harlem was and also the Wonderland Gardens was also another legendary club in Atlantic City that a lot of Black artists performed at. So I want to honor both of those great landmarks upcoming soon because there were so many. As I said, um, Lang City has a great deep music culture, and I want to focus on that. Honor those local, because there have been some local artists who still play, who are from Atlantic City that's played for legendary artists, just that people don't know about them. So I'm reaching out now to those people who know them, who have played local artists who have played with these legendary artists in the past, and interview them because their stories need to be told as well. Also, this month, December 18th, is our Founders Day, so it'll be our fourth year in for the Rhythm Blues Preservation Society. So we're gonna be doing a probably a live on December 18th. My vice president and I. I'll keep you in touch with that so everyone can join in our live, virtual live, and give us congratulations. We could speak about our Founders Day. You want to join in? So once I get that all done, I'll let you know about that, sir, for our Founders Day on December 18th.
I would love to. Yeah, and I'll share it out with my audience too. And
Great.
I think it's great. I absolutely think it's great what you're doing with all of the education here. Now, is there anything that you've learned? Like, is there anything that you've uncovered that you thought was exceptionally interesting? Maybe
Well,
maybe
just
said,
just learning, having a nonprofit, learning about that. I'm still learning every day about running a nonprofit as the president and CEO. Uh, on the business aspect, opening up a nonprofit not easy to do, and I'm learning more every day about far as the ins and outs of owning a nonprofit. But I'm having fun with the learning about the legal, the administrative work and everything. It's it's a task, but I keep up with it. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Um, Learning more. I'm just learning more every day about the nonprofit and learning more about. I get more into Black music culture. Like I said, on my social media, I'm always honoring those in Black music culture, and I'm just want to do more writing. I want to work on a book. I'm just learning more, about myself as far as wow, how far I can go with this. No limit to what I can do.
"Oh yeah, definitely. I love it." Now you've mentioned the book a couple of times now. Can you give me a little taste about what the book is going to be
Well,
about?
it's going to be about Black music culture. I'm not sure yet where I'm going to be going with it, but it's going to be I definitely want to put out a book self-published book next year. So, I've written articles for soulmusic.com. I've written articles for soulpatrol.com. I'm also a contributing writer to a magazine called Groove Magazine. I just wrote an article for the November issue called Black Music Culture 365 on the history of hip hop, and I'm going to be writing for their next issue in January. So I'm contributing writer for them. I'm also working on another article for another magazine coming out soon. I've been interviewed by Circle of Boss Sisters magazine. I've been interviewed for Groove magazine and Front Runners of New Jersey as well, and New Jersey Business magazine.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think it was New Jersey Business Magazine that I saw the article
Yes,
in.
yes.
That's fantastic. And you're really active on social media too. It seems like you're everywhere.
I appreciate everyone who was looking at our social media and noticing what we're doing. It's been that article from New Jersey Business Magazine has got me a little more notoriety, and I appreciate everyone who people just walk up to me, hey, I read your article, like wow, thank you. So I appreciate being noticed and being appreciated. And I'm very humbled and grateful for the success that we've done so far. We're still growing as a nonprofit. And also I'd like to let everyone know that Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society is a nonprofit organization, and you can make a tax donation to our Cash App $ RBPS OC 18. RBPS OC 18, and all donations are tax deductible and is definitely appreciated.
I'll put a link in the show notes here so people can just copy and paste it or just link it up and go right there with their Cash App. That's awesome.
Yes.
Now, do you keep up with like there's I think this weekend is the Four Tops and the Temptations. I think it's this weekend or this upcoming week. Now, do you keep up? I mean, there's some historical and some like classic R&B people who still coming around, like Smokey Robinson
Oh
still
yes,
hits the
Smokey
city.
Robinson just sent me out I just sent a birthday shout out to Mr. Barry Gordy, who just founder of Motown, and Mr. Smokey Robinson just acknowledged me and thanked me for announcing um, Mr. Barry Gordy. So Smokey Robinson knows about my organization. That's a great honor. Um, uh, so many legendary artists like Miss Melba Moore knows about my organization. Um, James Brown. I went to be James Brown's daughter, um, and she knows about my organization. So many legends and so many other artists in hip hop and R&B and jazz. They know about my organization. They appreciate what we're doing. So I'm very humble and grateful for that.
Yeah, and it's a great place because we're so close. We have the whole Philly soul thing.
Yes,
It
and
is so
yes,
powerful.
and speaking of that, Mr. Kenny Gamble, his daughter, Princess Idea Gamble, knows about my organization. He knows about my organization as well, Kenny Gamble, for the head of Philadelphia International Records. So he's heard about my organization as well, and through his daughter. So I appreciate that honor as well. I mean, I've always grew up on Philly soul, so just those. The legendary the artists who just recognize and getting this recognition from those artists is just a great, great, true blessing. I grew up with these artists, listen to their music, and for them to appreciate what we're doing is such a great honor.
That's great. Now where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New York.
Oh, cool. Now, did you hit the clubs? What was your experience like with music growing up? Was it the radio, or were you in the scene?
Well, growing up in New York, I graduated from LaGuardia High School Music and Art, and that was a great experience because so many great artists came out of that high school. Omar Epps, Sean Wayans, wow, Slick Rick, from the hip hop link Slick Rick, Dana Dane, MC Search from Third Base came from Music and Art. Nicki Minaj came from Music and LaGuardia High School. So it was a great experience for me going to LaGuardia High School Music and Performing Arts and learned so much about music, and and just witnessing, seeing other great talent there as well. I did some internships in different companies. So I've always been into music, and this is something I always wanted to do. A nonprofit for about 15 years or so, and I started the process in 2014. Saved my pennies up, because it's not cheap to open up a nonprofit organization with lawyers and everything like that. So finally, in 2018, it was incorporated as a nonprofit. So I was just truly grateful for that opportunity, and to make that goal happen. And as I said, we're still new, we're still progressing, we're still growing, and we have so many ideas. My vice president and I, we're always having meetings of what can we do next, think out the box. So yeah, we just gonna keep expanding, opening up chapters, educating, the kids. So I'm having a great time.
Oh, that's great. How did you get into music writing? Just curious.
I was it was natural. I started, playing by ear, writing when I was young. I played different instruments, keyboards, percussions, trumpet. So music always been a part of me since I was little.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. Now, have you? I was just talking on my last podcast. I interviewed a kid, not a kid. I mean, we're not kids anymore, but a gentleman, brand new, a rapper, and he went to Stockton, and we were talking about Rodney Jerkins, who is a
Oh yeah,
legendary
the great
producer
producer. Oh yes, from Jersey. Yes.
right here in Pleasantville, New Jersey. I mean, and you were talking about Michael Jackson before, right? I mean, Michael
Yeah, he
Jackson.
produced him. I
Yeah,
believe he produced him. Yes.
yeah, I believe
Hmm.
he produced Michael and Janet. I mean,
And Destiny's Child.
I mean, there's some I mean, that guy has, and I think he's still going. I haven't followed him in a while because he's out west. That's the way it goes. Everybody gets
Yes,
famous and
yes,
they
yeah.
move.
Ronnie Jerkins, one of the greatest producers of all time. Absolutely.
You got to get him into it too, because I think he would have a lot to contribute, especially to some kids. But I
Oh
mean,
yes.
it's amazing that like that's just my generation, that I
Right.
grew up with. But through the years, as we were saying, I mean, even Sammy Davis Jr. from the Sinatra era, he was at the 500 Club a lot and had a good presence there and was in Atlantic City a lot.
Yes.
And
Dr. Nina Simone, as I said, I interviewed her. I did a 2 hour lecture on Dr. Nina Simone, the great jazz legend Nina Simone. She got her start in Atlantic City.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow, wow. So, what were some great takeaways from that interview with Dr. Nina Simone?
With the lecture at the Stockton was a great interview. Her grandson Alexander Simone spoke about, for us her accomplishments, and also a gentleman named Mr. Ralph Hunter, who has a museum here, African American Museum in Atlantic City. His experience with Dr. Nina Simone, he spoke about her legacy. So it was a great lecture on Dr. Nina Simone as far as her contribution to music. We want to do something for her 90th birthday this in February. Um, I wanted so we're working on that now, trying to see what we can do for her 90th birthday, because she's definitely a great legend. And as I said, she got to start here in Atlantic City, and that's what we do. We want to honor those who contribute to Black music culture. I mean, those who it's not, like I said, it doesn't matter your status, not about, you could be a one-hit wonder. As long as you contribute to Black music culture, we honor you.
That's a great mission. It reminds me of I'm a big punk rock guy. I grew up listening. I grew up listening to rock, but my rebellious high school phase, I was listening to punk rock. And there's a punk rock museum being opened in Las Vegas, which is
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
So the opposite of
Okay.
Atlantic City, Las Vegas.
Right.
And the guy who's opening it is a guy, Fat Mike, from a band called NoFX, and he has the same. He said if you have ever played punk rock or part of a punk rock band, you are part of this museum. You're part of
Right.
this. You're in. That's the qualification. I think that's great that you both have the same philosophy.
Right. That's cool. That's real cool.
Now, who are you listening? I'm just curious. What are you listening to now? Are there any R&B artists that you like right now that stand out to you?
Yeah, I like Greg Porter. He's cool. I like
Oh
him.
yeah.
Yeah, Greg Porter. Her, of course, she's great.
Oh
Her.
yeah.
Of
Incredible
course,
guitarist. I mean, she is just underrated for.
talent, very, very talented. I mean, she's the Academy Award winner.
Yep. Yep.
Yes,
Unbelievable.
great. Wow. Of course, for um, gentleman, there's a gentleman by the name of he's a great singer. Just what he just came Greg Porter. Let us see. Um, you know, I love Kim. He's great. He's coming out with new music. He's been in the game for a long time. Um, and also just, hip hop, Kendrick Lamar,
Oh, Kendrick Lamar.
Common,
Yeah,
um,
Common. Yes,
Take,
absolutely.
J. Cole's, Anthony Hamilton, R&B. Um, I listen, Layla Hathaway, Let It See. So there's some great R&B and hip hop artists who are keeping the tradition of, alive as far as R&B and hip hop and jazz as well. I like Mike Phillips. We interviewed him last year, Mike Phillips. I love the legendary Joe McBride. I listen to him a lot, and of course, listen to classics. I always listen to R&B from the '70s, and '60s, and '50s as well. That's I love the Black music culture. That's been a part of my life since I was little. So I always listen to Black music culture, Latin music as well. Reggae. I listen to reggae, funk rock. That's what I grew up listening to. You know what I mean? And I still every day I listen to music every day.
That's great. Yeah, you got to have that. Music makes me happy personally, so I got
Yes,
to listen to music every day as well.
absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great. So Perry, that those are all the questions that I had. Was there anything that I didn't ask? I have three questions I ask every guest, but was there anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to mention or I
No,
should have asked?
no, you covered everything. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's great. So I ask these questions to everybody. I think they're funny, and I think they're fun questions. So here it goes. First one is, what was the first album that you bought or received as a gift?
Wow. That I was. You know what? I remember when the Brace came out by Curtis Blow, and I wanted that record so bad. My mother actually went to the record store, and there was only one left. It was actually the display one, and she got that for me as a gift.
I remember that display
Curtis Blow.
record. Wow. Yeah, the display record. I remember that. Curtis Blow. That's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good pull. That's a really good pull. Do you remember what the occasion was?
No, she just got it for her. I told my
Oh,
asked my
that's
mother could she
great.
get. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is really cool. What was just curious, what was your local record store when you were growing up?
Oh wow. I don't know the name of it, but it was in Queens, and I used to go there all the time. I remember just going in when I was little, going in there and just seeing the records and the 45s. I would just get a high.
Oh
I would
yeah.
go there all the time. I can remember a story. Um, when Stevie Wonder's Talking Book album came out with Superstition, and my parents went to the store with we went to the store to get the album, and I couldn't believe how long the line was. That was just so, it was just an incredible experience that everyone was waiting to buy this album. The line was long, but I was just in awe of what, they were just, the line was just so long. And I'm little. I'm like, wow, just blowing me away that people online waiting to buy this album. It was just an incredible experience, just being a part of that. Like, wow. Yeah. So the record store, I used to go there all the time, you know, just getting a high, just looking at the album covers and the 45s. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, and they were always changing. And I remember those days. I mean, you would wait in line, or you remember like music used to come out on Tuesdays, and you would see the first display there. It was always like the big hit. You know what I mean? And I remember getting pissed like in high school when it was like In Sync and Britney Spears. They'd be like, you'd walk into the record store, you'd be hit with
Right.
like pop music, and it wouldn't. I'd have to go dive for whatever rock or whatever I was listening to back then. But
Right.
I remember the days of people would get in line and wait for
This is
music to
way
come
before
out.
streaming. We had to actually go buy the album. Way before streaming. This is a learning lesson, kids. Back when we grew up, we had to go buy the album. Go to the record store to buy the album. That's a learning. That's a history fact for the kids. Back in the days, we had to go buy the album, the 45, the 12-inch, the CD. We had to actually go to the store.
And then trade it
Mm.
with your friends, right? That was always the thing. I'd always go with a buddy and I'd be like, all right, you get this one, I get this one. All right, we'll listen for a week, then
I
we'll
didn't trade
switch
my
them.
records. Once I bought them,
Oh,
you couldn't get them. No.
I love it.
I still have crates of music now, man. I got crates of music in New York. I got crates of music in Georgia. I got crates of music. 45s. I got cassettes. Oh no, my CDs. My collection is very extensive.
That's a good historian right there. Now, my next question is, what was your first concert that you ever attended?
Wow, the first concert I ever attended. Hmm. The first concert I ever attended. Let me think on that. Wow. That I went myself. I think the first concert I ever went to for myself as a teenager, I think it was the New Edition Heartbreak Tour in '88 that I went
Ooh,
myself. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. I'll be sure Bobby Brown and New Edition Tour. Mm-hmm.
wow. Anything memorable? Where was it?
Well, I remember it was a Madison Square Garden in New York. Yeah, I remember that. And how I remember that is because Bobby Brown was sick and he didn't perform.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how I remember that. It was December of 1988. I was trying to press this girl.
Of
So
course.
she wanted to go. So I got the tickets for the Heartbreak Tour in '88. I think I still had the ticket stub.
Oh, yes. That is
Yep,
amazing.
88, 1988, the Heartbreak Tour.
I just learned that you can get ticket stubs authenticated just like you can baseball cards. It's a little more difficult, but apparently you can send them away or you can get them authenticated somehow, especially if they're signed.
Oh yeah, they signed. That's even more great. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah. All right, Perry. Last question. This one's pretty cool. What is your favorite soundtrack or score from a movie?
Ooh, my favorite soundtrack. My favorite soundtrack will have to be Superfly by Curtis Mayfield.
Oh wow! There you go. Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Classic. I mean, every song a classic. Soundtrack Superfly by Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Wow, that's a good one. That's a real. I'm gonna have to put that on when we get done talking here.
Yeah.
Well, Perry Thompson, thank you so much for your time. That's I really appreciate it, and
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the opportunity, brother.
And thank you for everything that you're doing with the Rhythm and Blues Preservation Society.
Thank you, sir. And again, my Cash App, $RBPSOC18, and any support is appreciated.
Yeah, and hit me with your social medias too.
Yes, Facebook at RBPSOC, Twitter at RBPSOC, TikTok is at RBPSOC, and my Instagram is Perry Thompson, RBPSOC.
Awesome, and I'll link all that up in the show notes. Thanks again, Perry.
Thanks again, brother.
I don't think anyone wants to hear about football/soccer.